Today I want to talk to you about the interpretations of dreams by Sigmund Freud. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like this book. I'm gonna say that first off the bat because it's interesting. There's very cool parts of it, but overall I don't think it quite reaches the level of Jungian dream analysis. And this is just my personal opinion. I don't know. It's cool when you read Jung because Jung seems to have such a understanding of his patients, and he seems to make it very personal with his analysis, whereas Freud kind of seems like very blocky, very rigid, very doctrinal with some of his beliefs, and I'll get into that later. But overall, it's an interesting book because I really love reading Jung, and you could see a lot of Jung come out of this, and you can also see a lot of influence from Schopenhauer. So for Freud to be the bridge between Schopenhauer and Jung, it is very, very cool to read. But again, overall, I think the book is far too long for my liking. If it had stopped at page 100, it would be a new favorite book of mine because Freud is talking about the origins of dreams. He's talking about where dreams come from and all these different philosophical ideas, and he's basically interplaying like different philosophers, different writers, different psychologists, and piecing them together and showing his own beliefs, which I thought was very, very interesting. But again, it is what it is. Freud was someone that was deeply challenged. Freud was someone that had a lot of controversies, that had a lot of issues with his own life. He invented psychoanalysis, but never was psychoanalyzed himself. That should tell you all you need to know about the man. The man talked all his life about projection, but didn't quite understand that he was doing that to his clients as well. And I think this is his biggest weakness. His biggest weakness was his own ability to turn the mirror on himself, his own ability to look deep into his own soul and find out exactly what was going on. And you're reading Freud, and to me it seems like he's coming upon a great discovery. He's about to hit at some universal truth. He's about to say something great, and then he just stops it and says the most generic thing you can think, and you're like, dude, you were about to hit greatness. You were about to strike gold. There was something in this that you completely missed. And to me, I'm reading this book and I'm hearing him talk about symbolism, and I'm like, I don't really think this is correct. Like he's analyzing dreams, and I can immediately tell you what it is right away. Like there's a dream where this lady saw all of her relatives in a field, and they were all 10 times the size of her, and it was like, the interpretation was completely different from what you would think, because you would assume it to be, maybe this patient feels like everyone is growing up and leaving the nest. Everyone is doing all these great things except her. Or maybe this patient is coming to grips with her own mortality. Like it would be a natural conclusion for it to be something like that. But I don't even remember what he said. But it was just so weird. And I'm like, I don't quite think it's this. And most of Freud's analysis is really shaded by his inability to get over his own sexuality. Like that's really it. His main claim to fame, his main theory is either the Oedipus complex or the psychosexual theory, which is basically stating that every problem, every neurosis we have comes from sexual repression, and if we can't pinpoint exactly where it comes from, then it's psychosexual. And I'm like, I don't quite agree with that. I think there's much deeper complexities with humankind, but again, it's interesting to read where some of the origins of my favorite ideas come from, and I think it's a cool thing to read. I'm probably going to pick up something else by Freud. I think this was just something that was too poetic, too expressive, too unique to really enjoy from him, because he has such a rigid style. But I think I picked up a few interesting ideas. Like one of Freud's most interesting ideas is that your dreams have some relation to what you experience today. So like there's going to be something that ties today to your dreams. And he also basically surmised that we forget our dreams simply because it's so random to us. Like there's no order. It seems like all chaos. So because all of these details are so weird and so out there, we just choose not to observe them. Like imagine reading a foreign language on a sheet of paper. It might say something to someone else, but because you don't understand it, because there's no coherence to it, you're not going to remember it. And I think that makes a whole lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense as why we forget our dreams. And probably the most important part of the book is the idea of wish fulfillment. So Freud basically stated that in our dreams, we live out the lives that we wish we wanted to. So if you're not living some aspect of yourself in this world, you're going to live it in the dream world. And that's the greatest element of dreams. That's the greatest way we can transform our lives, is from our dreams, because they offer us an unbiased lens into what we really want. Like, you can lie to yourself your entire life. You can tell yourself, I want this, I want that. And the truth is, we're never quite honest with ourselves because we have our own lens we see the world through. We have our own worldview, the things that we think. But the only way we're open and honest with ourselves is through our dreams, is through interpreting our dreams. And this is the whole thesis of the book, that if you can find out what you want in your dreams, you can find out what you want in this world, and you can begin to integrate it, and you can begin to make your life better, make yourself happier, and find all the fulfillment you need in life. So with that said, I feel like this book drones on for much too long. I feel like it's waffling. I feel like some of the interpretations Freud have are not really transformative in the sense of Jungian dream analysis. And I want you to, if you pick up this book, juxtapose it with Jungian dream analysis as well, because I think Jung had a much deeper and a much darker understanding of human nature, whereas Freud kind of took it surface level. Freud was basically finding symptoms and trying to cure the symptoms, where Jung was trying to get to the root cause and really dig out exactly what it was that was ailing humanity. So, interesting book. I'll link it at the end of the video if you want to pick it up as well. I think the first 100 pages, if it was literally just the first 100 pages, I think this would be a must read. But because it runs on for another 500 pages, I would suggest to read it only if you have a lot of free time and only if you're weirdly interested in these ideas like me. But with that said, hopefully at least I taught you something. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. Get to the next one.